Here with my brother Daniel Jones. Welcome to the Bennie Fowler channel on YouTube, bro. What's good?
What's going on, my man?
Chilling, man. This is just a leadership series, so I just got 4 or 5 questions about leadership and your leadership development, what you've learned. So I just want to know what you think the key traits to being a good leader are.
I think, first of all, I think leadership changes kind of as your role changes on the team, or as you become more experienced, or as you get to know guys. I think, particularly in my position, I think, as a rookie coming in, I think self-awareness is a huge part of that. Understanding that, taking my position on the team last year was, being aware enough to realize that, you're a rookie. You don't have a lot of the answers. You're trying to learn from a lot of the guys who've done it a lot longer than you, and who've, have a lot more experience, who've seen a lot more things, and kind of to be aware of that, but also to set an example and to take care of, take care of yourself first. I think that's, when it comes to leadership, that's one of the most important things is to try to, do your job first, make sure you're taking care of what you're doing, and then, look to, help others or inspire others or whatever that, role is. But I think, first and foremost, it's to take care of your own work, do your own job, and do it well.
Did you get that from your parents? Because I saw that you you had that kind of right away. Every time I would come in on an off day or a Monday, I mean, your cars was one of the first cars that's in the parking lot. You pretty much park in one of those 3 spots, like right when I walk into or drive into the facility. So did you just learn that from your parents, or was that something that you learned from Eli? Where did you learn that from?
Probably my parents, but a lot of people. I mean, a lot of influences. I think, probably starting with my dad, my mom, my dad. Just kind of watching them work, watching them. Whatever it is, it's last year, for the first time in my life, football was a job, but for a long time, it had been the most important thing, in my life, outside of my, my family, my faith, and a lot of other things. But, football was that thing that I was always doing. That was the most important, other activity I had. So I treated it like a job. And I think, just like anyone's parents, or just like anyone does their job, you treat it like that. Like it's, it's something you need to be doing all the time. It's something to keep you busy. It's something to work towards. It's something to, approach very seriously. And that's kind of the way I thought of it was, I don't know if that answers your question necessarily, but I mean, a lot of influences, a lot of people who I've respected along the way, and work hard, who take it seriously like that. And I think, that's inspired me, and I try to do that as best I can.
Yeah, I see you taking on the leadership role. Like you kind of took it on naturally to me, even when you got your first start. You took myself and Russell Shepard out to dinner, and we had dinner. And that showed me your leadership growth, or that you were taking this very seriously. Tell me why you wanted to do that, or what made you think about that. And then we actually kind of continued that tradition throughout the rest of the season. But, I think it's important for people to understand that, leadership is more about relationships. So tell me, what your thought process was with that.
Yeah, I think you said it, relationships. I mean, you and Shep were 2 of the guys I got to know the best, early on, and guys I felt like I built good relationships with early on, but also, 2 guys who'd been around the league for a while, who'd seen a lot, who kind of understood the way it all works, who understood, the way that you practice, the way you prepare, the way you communicate, and kind of how a team, works from that standpoint. So obviously that was, interesting to me, and just trying to learn from people like you, from people like Shep, and all the older guys really. But, I saw it as an opportunity to build relationships with people who, who I thought were really good dudes, people who, I wanted to be around, but also people I could really learn from.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
What's the number one leadership quality that you took from Eli?
I
know there's a lot.
I don't know. I think,
been around him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's an unbelievable leader. He's an unbelievable player. I think toughness probably. I think just the way the way he carries himself, what he allows himself to, focus on how routine that is, how consistent that is, and just his approach to the game to me was mentally and physically tough. And I think, that's why you've seen, he had this successful a career as successful as he did. The reason he played as long as he did was how tough he was and how he how strongly he stuck to his routine, how strongly he could control his focus and his mind on what he needed to do and what was important for the team and important for him.
And he's also one of the best storytellers I've ever been around.
He's definitely, he's really good at building relationships with guys and getting guys to, like you said, telling stories. I mean, he's hilarious. I think, not everyone realizes that, but he's a fun guy to be around.
I don't think people understand the power of those relationships, but the power of those stories, though, when Eli tells a story, it makes you makes you connect with him, but also you want to do anything to like help the team, like you said, regardless of what situation you're in, because he's such a personable guy. You don't want to let him down in any way.
Right. I think that's huge. Those moments, in the cafeteria or in the locker room or in between meetings, I think, you build a lot of important relationships in those times and just being around the building, being around guys, I think is important. And Eli is, was always really good at that, I felt like.
I got just two more questions. The last question is, the second to last question is, if you had to go back and tell your younger self some things that you know now, what would you tell yourself about leadership, or would you tell yourself to improve in any area before you got to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to improve. I think, to me, I think if there was one thing I told myself, particularly, in high school or even through the draft, thinking about last year, I think, people have an idea of leadership where it's always, it's always vocal, it's always kind of in your face or rah rah, and that's kind of what's necessary to be a good leader, especially a quarterback. And at some points in time, I think that works. I think for some people that works, but for me, that wasn't necessarily the way I felt most comfortable leading, or I think that people responded to best for me. I think at times people will tell you, try to push you in that direction. And I think, just having the confidence and the way that I felt like I needed to lead most naturally and could connect with guys most naturally and kind of doing that, my way. But also, I mean, there comes a time where you do need to get out of your comfort zone and understand the times to be a little bit more, pushy or whatever that is. And I think, I had a feel for that. But I think, overall leadership comes best naturally and is heard best, naturally, authentically, and how you are most of the time.
Love it, brother. Love it. Last question. I saw some great things out of you last year, a lot of great things, and I have a couple distinct memories from especially training camp and throws that you made. But I knew you really wanted to be great when I got cut, and then after the Minnesota game, you had missed some throws that you wanted to get back, and then you hit me up. You came and picked me up, and you wanted to go through those plays that you had messed up. Where did that come from? Where did that sense of greatness want to come from? Because you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to pick me up, but it might have been like 9:00 at night. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I mean, I think
if you don't want to talk about this part either, we can leave this out for people not to know.
No, I mean, I think just being very focused on it. I think it's about how important it is to you, and football is certainly very important to me. I wanted to feel like I had made progress toward the things I messed up on, that I didn't do well, and I had an opportunity to correct them before before I went to sleep that day. So that was kind of the mindset, and maybe it was more mentally just kind of like I said, correct some of those things, feel better about my getting through that and working through mistakes I had made. I think is the biggest thing, and I knew I would sleep better that night if I did do that. So I appreciate you getting up and helping me out that night.
Hey man, anything for you, bro. I appreciate you coming on today. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hopefully when all this stuff is over, hopefully back in New York.
No doubt, brother. All right. Take care.
All right, bro.